Good evening and welcome to the 2019 League of Women Voters debate. And we're going to start off by welcoming, we're going to give Kim Weatherhead, the president. She's going to come up here and she's going to start us all off for the night.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you tonight to our Candidates Night. My name is Kim Weatherhead. I am the president of the League of Women Voters in Marion, Ohio. If you don't know that much about the League, we are a national organization with over 700 local units. We are nonprofit and nonpartisan. The League does not endorse or support parties or political candidates, and we encourage all citizens to become informed and to participate in their government. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then we encourage you to join the League. We are delighted to welcome all citizens of voting age, both male and female. We have forms on all the tables as well as the registration tables as you enter and exit the room. You can also email us at marionleague@yahoo.com. We have a Facebook page called League of Women Voters of Marion, Ohio, and we just got up and running a website that is called marionleague.org. As you know, the voter guide is tied to, hopefully as you know, the voter guide is tied to Candidates Night as well, and that is something that we have on the tables when you exit or enter the room. It was also published in last Thursday's Marion Star, and it will be distributed throughout town. If you do not find one, you can also go to vote411.org. This is a National League of Women Voters website, and it even has more candidate information in there locally for Marion as well as statewide. If you would like an email copy, you can email us at marionleague@yahoo.com, and you can also visit our website at marionleague.org. We invite you to visit the election campaign literature table, which is towards the back. And this is candidates and ballot issue representatives who are welcome to place their literature on this table, and you can also speak to them one-on-one after the debate if you wish. We are also grateful and would like to say thanks to WMRN, iHeartMedia, and Randy Bigley for arranging tonight's broadcast and moderating the debate. HHS Telecom's videotaping crew, which is led by telecommunications teacher John Mullins. They will also be videotaping us for YouTube, and it will be on their channel, which is called HHS Telecom. We would also like to thank our generous donors who help support our work. Last but not least, I would like to talk about some reminders of the League policy and ground rules for tonight's event. No one will be allowed to speak for an absent candidate. At least 2 candidates for an office must be present for them to participate. Candidates are considered as running for the same office if it holds the same title and responsibility. For example, city council seats for any ward. Questions should be confined strictly to the issues and not personalities. If a question is addressed to all candidates for a specific office, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond and no rebuttal. Candidates will alternate answering first. If a question is addressed to an individual candidate, that candidate has 1 minute to respond. Opposing candidate or candidates may offer a 1 minute rebuttal, and then the original candidate has a 30-second wrap-up. The use of signs, gestures, or electronic or text messaging devices to communicate with the candidates during the debate is strictly prohibited. Unauthorized recording videos, by cell phone or otherwise, are not allowed because the FCC requires that a debate must not be edited and must be broadcasted in its entirety. In fairness and respect to the candidates and the radio listening audience, the League also requests that the people in attendance to remain silent during the event. I would like to now turn over the program to our moderator, Randy Bigley.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we've had the contested candidates that are not present tonight, and we contacted Robert Landon. He's the auditor candidate. He emailed us and said, I cannot attend the candidates night meeting due to being on business for my employer. Bill Bayberry, the 6th Ward Council candidate, he called and said that he would not be able to attend. Kevin Norris, mayor candidate, who messaged us, says, I have been called out of town on a personal matter. Because of League's policy on one-of-a-kind 2-person contest, Mr. Landon's absence keeps us from seating auditor candidate Kelly Carr, who is present. And you can please stand and greet her. She's in the audience. Kelly, are you out there? Hi, Kelly. Kelly Carr is available to talk with you one-on-one after the broadcast. Right now, we're going to have our candidates speak. They get 90 seconds to introduce themselves. We're going to start all the way down here on the end with 1st Ward Council Kaya Mead.
My name is Kai Mead, and I'm running for City Council in the 1st Ward. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this event and inviting me to share my ideas. I'd also like to thank the audience for coming and trying to be as informed as possible before casting your November ballot. I'll begin by telling you a little bit about myself. I come from a military family, one that moved frequently until we came back to Marion when I was 10 years old. I've been a resident of the 1st Ward for almost 2 years with my fiancée, Kirsten, who grew up in Fair Park. We chose to put our roots down on Bahama Drive because we fell in love with the community and the potential we know it has. We want to live here for years to come and build a family here in a neighborhood that cares about family values. Being raised by a soldier and a teacher, you're taught the importance of detail and service ever since I was a toddler. I've spent my life trying to put those lessons into action, from helping with Habitat for Humanity to help build homes for those who need it, and working with United Way's Let's Read 20 to bring books to our elementary schools right here in the city of Marion, like TAP. I'm a student who has worked his way through school and will graduate in a little over a month from The Ohio State University with a bachelor's in political science. I'm running for City Council because I know I have the knowledge, ability, and experience to improve our streets, help give our first responders the resources they need to better serve us, and communicate with businesses to help bring good jobs here while being fiscally responsible. Most importantly, though, a vote for Kai Mead is a vote for Fair Park and the rest of the 1st Ward finally getting a fair seat at the table.
Okay, Michael Sott.
Hello, my name is Kevin Lido. I'm a lifelong resident of Marion in the 3rd Ward, other than the 9 years when I served in the Navy. After returning home from the military, I was lucky enough to be hired as one of your Marion City firefighters. I was also a paramedic for the fire department until my retirement in 2018. That job prepared me for critical thinking and decision making. I married my wife, Sue Fairchild, 37 years ago, and we have 2 grown children and 1 grandchild. It is my hope that after you elect me to City Council as 3rd Ward representative, that I can address some problems that are not only a 3rd Ward problem, but a Marion City problem as whole. The opioid epidemic is something I really want to crusade. We cannot incarcerate our way out of this situation. With the support of the fire and police departments, I would like to put together an interagency task force to address the addict. Getting help to them when they need it is a must. Ward issues such as abandoned and blighted properties. 3rd Ward seems to have more than their share, and I'd like to get these cleaned up. I also look forward to working with the mayor and other council members, for new employment opportunities in the city. Being retired, I can dedicate full-time hours to this position, and I look forward to serving the people in the ward. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this, and I'd like to ask you for your support. Thank you.
Okay, Michael Sott is not with us. Kevin Little, thank you so much. 3rd Ward Council. Also, Jason Schauber.
Good evening. My name is Jason Schauber, and I'm a lifelong resident of the 3rd Ward and your current 3rd Ward councilman. I've been married 23 years to Christy Schauber, and we have twin boys, which I'm very proud of, Andrew and Austin. My son Andrew became a homeowner at the age of 21. Working a full-time job, saving money, he secured a mortgage, furnished his own house with no financial help from mom and dad. My son Austin is a full-time college student, works a full-time job, and chases his dreams. Through perseverance and connecting with the right people, one of Austin's dreams became a reality. Last Sunday's episode of The Walking Dead, my son made his acting debut as a zombie. I shared my proud dad moments, not to brag about how my wife and I raised our boys, but to show the work ethic that I've instilled in them. That's the same work ethic that has been instilled in me. And I've worked very hard for the 3rd Ward. The last 2 years as your councilman, we've cleaned out a ditch that posed flooding issues, changed the street name to honor a great civil rights leader. By adding a tall weed and grass inspector, we have begun to get a handle on properties that bring down our neighborhoods. Another benefit to the 3rd Ward is the addition of a uniformed officer to act as a compliance officer. This has led to shutting down many individuals that were running scrap or auto repair businesses out of their residential homes. I'm getting at 10 seconds, so I'm going to wrap up and ask for your support on November 5th. Thanks.
Now from 4th Ward Council, Debbie Blevins.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Blevins, and I'm running for re-election as your 4th Ward City Council person. I have lived in Marion for 50 years. I raised my 2 children and helped with 4 grands and 2 great-grandchildren in the 4th Ward. I am retired, but that gives me plenty of time to be available to address your concerns. I served 3 years on active duty in the Army and was honorably discharged. I have seen a lot of changes in the city, most of them positive. I've learned a lot about being fiscally responsible. I have served on many committees over the years, so I have a pretty good idea just how much each department needs to run sufficiently. I wish we could fix everything we want, but since we don't, I try to work closely with Mrs. Carr in matters of spending money for city improvements. A lot has changed since I was first elected. We have made a lot of progress in the city with better streets and sewers and new businesses. I'd like to thank the administration for stretching our dollar as far as it will go. I also support legislation to improve your safety services and to keep our firefighters and police men and women equipped with what they need to do their jobs efficiently. Of course, there's always a need for new equipment. I heard that some of the firemen...
Time's up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see you.
Also from 4th Ward Council, Joshua Feliciano.
I want to thank the Women of Legal Voters for this opportunity. My name is Joshua Feliciano, and I'm also running for 4th Ward City Council. I grew up in New York City, moved here in 1971, and I've been in Marion for 45 years, graduated from Harding High School. Also served in the U.S. Army for several years. Also had my kids grow up in Marion, and my adopted daughter also from Marion. She also graduated from Harding High School. The reason why I'm running for 4th Ward City Council is we have a lot of problems in the 4th Ward, and I want to be a new voice for the residents of the 4th Ward of City Council. There's a lot that needs to be done, and I feel that with a new voice and a new vision, we can get that done and stop the crime in the 4th Ward and build the respect and the honor of our residents, that they can communicate and watch out for each other, especially the elderly. I want to thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we're going to go with 5th Ward Council, Leslie Cunningham.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Leslie Cunningham. Born and raised in Marion, Ohio. I've lived here for, 42 years. I've been in the 5th Ward for 20 years with my husband Todd and my 3 children. It has been an absolute privilege to be on council for the last 2 terms. I have learned so much, and it has been an honor and a privilege to work for the citizens of the 5th Ward and also the city. I look forward to hopefully continuing that. We have a lot to accomplish, but we've come a long way, and we've all worked very well together, and my hope and my goal is to continue to work together as a council to achieve all that we need to achieve. No matter what the outcome is, I know that everybody here is working hard for the city and wants to work hard for the city, so I appreciate your vote November 5th.
Okay, also from 4th Ward Council, or 5th Ward Council, excuse me, Tara Dyer.
I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for providing this forum to allow you Marion residents to interview future legislators. My name is Tara Dyer, and I am a candidate for 5th Ward City Council. And for the purpose of this interview, I'm going to play upon the theme, present. Presently, I'm a 3-decade resident of the 5th Ward, where I've raised 4 beautiful children and 5 grandchildren. Hi, Ronnie. Presently, I am sitting at the table of organizations and committees who are working diligently, searching to find solutions to problems that plague our community, such as Marion Public Health, we're working on housing, Drug-Free Marion, we're looking at addiction, and Turning Point, who definitely is an advocate for violence against women. I'm president of my ward. As a matter of fact, I spent 5 of my 35-year teaching career at Benjamin Harrison Elementary School, which it allowed me to expand my knowledge of the residents of the 5th. Most importantly, I'll be present at council meetings, committee meetings, gathering knowledge that ultimately will help me decide not only what's best for the 5th Ward, but what is best for Marion as a whole. I've been active throughout the community, and I believe that's an important asset for the community. In conclusion, 2 weeks from today, you'll make an important decision. I want you to be present at the polls.
Okay, Tara, time's up. Now from 6th Ward Council, Kathy Swanger.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Swanger, and I'm asking for your vote for the 6th Ward for City Council. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me and the rest of the candidates here tonight. I am a longtime educator in Marion, having served over 3 decades in education. I've served our children. Now I would like to serve our community. I am seeking my first political office because I believe in the city of Marion and I believe in the potential that we have. I've been a lifelong resident of Marion since moving here at the age of 3. The only time that I was away was during college and my first teaching job. I want to bring more jobs into the city of Marion. However, I also want to focus on creating a strong workforce in Marion by using the educational resources that we have available to us. As a longtime servant through my church and career, I want to serve the citizens of Marion. One of my strengths is relationship building. This asset will help me serve my constituents and all of the constituents of Marion. My goal is to listen like I am wrong and fight like I am right. I am humbly asking for your vote for Kathy Swanger for 6th Ward City Council.
Now Marion City Mayor, Sue McGowan.
Hello, my name is Sue McGowan. Thank you all for coming here today. I see a lot of familiar faces. I'm a full-time, long-time Marion resident. I went to Catholic school here, went to Marion Hardian. I've worked for a lot of industries and had my fingers in a lot of areas of automobile industry and different other factories, contract plumbing. I've taken care of my mom for the last 12 years doing home health care. I left the Ohio Department of Transportation where I was an inspector and a highway maintenance technician to stay with the loyalty of my family. I'm a big family person, and I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother of 2. And I've seen a lot of changes in our community that I'm not really happy with. I know that this community can be better. We need to focus. We have a huge drug epidemic going on. It needs to be addressed. It's not being addressed. We're finally getting some relief for the firemen and getting more manpower. Well, and we need to take care of our roads and make a recreation center.
Also for Marion City Mayor, Scott Schertzer.
Thank you. I'm Mayor Scott Schertzer, and I would like to ask you for your vote for me for mayor on November the 5th. And remember, early voting has started at the Board of Elections. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, iHeartMedia, and HHS Telecom for putting this forum on tonight. But I'd like to thank you and those listening at home this evening, for you have shown an interest in your local government. My wife Ann and I are starting our 20th year of marriage together. We have 2 daughters, Sydney and Olivia, who are a junior and senior right here at Harding High School. I can tell you this, that being a husband and a father has made me a better public official. I'm a lifelong member of the First Presbyterian Church. I have the energy to do the job, I have the enthusiasm to want the job, and I have the experience to do the job for you. I'm fiscally responsible with your tax dollars while rebuilding our safety forces. I'm also a board member of the Can Do organization, which is at the forefront of job creation, retention, and expansion. That's why we have the lowest unemployment rate that we've had in 50 years. While investing in our infrastructure, we're resurfacing our roads and we're rebuilding an aging sewer system. I'm Scott Schertzer. I am Marion made, and I would appreciate your vote on November the 5th. Thank you.
Now for Marion Township Fiscal Officer, Eric Klinsman.
I would like to thank this opportunity tonight. I'd also like to thank Sheila Farron for her service. I know that it can be a thankless job and sort of behind the scenes. I am Marion made also, lived here for 47 years. I am the bass singer in the group 9 that sings around town. I live here with my wife Tara, and we have our 5 children here in town. Over 20 years, I've had my Bachelor's in Science of Accounting and Business Administration, and a few years after that, I got my certification of computers and as a CompTIA A+ computer professional. And through the years of decades of taxes and accounting, I've become an IRS enrolled agent, and all this I feel has given me the opportunity to have the knowledge to do this job to the best of my ability. And I'm not a politician, so please thank you for this opportunity, and I'd appreciate your vote on or before November 5th. Thank you.
Now also for Marion Township Fiscal Officer Sheila Perrin.
Good evening and welcome to Candidates Night. My name is Sheila Perrin and I am your current fiscal officer for Marion Township. I am seeking my 5th term as your township fiscal officer. I have lived in Marion for 45 years and I have been married to my husband Don for 45 years. We raised 4 children. They are all graduates of Pleasant High School. I'm asking for your vote so that I can serve the citizens of the township and the trustees in an accurate and fiscally responsible manner. I would like to maintain a cost-effective management of the fiscal officer office and adhere to accepted and accounting practices for records and accounts. In the year 2020, there will be several changes in the township with increased revenues. There was a road levy passed in the May election. There will be increased revenues for the road levy, and as you all know, the gas tax has increased, so there will be additional revenues with that. I feel that you need someone who is experienced to handle the revenues, and I feel that I can do that job for you. I know I can do that job for you, and I'm asking for your vote November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time for questions. The first one is for all city council, and we're going to I'll start with Kathy Swanger, and we'll work our way down that way. Kathy, what are the responsibilities of a city councilman, and what would you do to engage with your wards and to empower them?
The job of the city council is to enact the laws and to make, not to enact, that's your job, is to make the laws and to work with the citizens and the constituents of the city of Marion. I believe as a city council person, what I would like to do is to listen to what the citizens of Marion want, and specifically what the citizens of the 6th Ward want. And then after listening to them, to take that information, use my own knowledge, and then make the best decisions for the city of Marion. So our job is to make the laws that regulate the city.
Tara?
The job description of a city council member is listed on our site, and one of the things that it says is we are responsible to the citizens in our ward. The other thing it says is we need to exercise fiscal responsibility. That's very, very important. We need to debate and assess ordinances and decide how public funds are spent. I call it the Mike Thomas model. I was very impressed by how he engaged the people in his ward by having he had like a neighborhood group. So I would like to parrot that and have the same type of organization in the 5th Ward.
Okay. Leslie Cunningham.
As Kathy's mentioned, we are the legislative branch, so it is our job to enact the rules. So what I would like to do and what I have been doing is I reach out to my people. Tell me what you guys want. We work for you. What are your needs? What are your desires? What is going on that you see? And let us know how we can work for you. My telephone number is everywhere. I tell everybody to contact me anytime, any day, any night. I am available for any questions of anything. Most of the calls I get are in regards to lighthouses and issues like that. We have a great city. So our job is to listen to you and to act upon the desires of the city and to do its best.
Joshua Feliciano.
I'm a newbie, so this is all new to me, running for city council, and what my responsibility would be for a city councilman is to hear the people in my ward, their voice, what's going on, and to bring it to the rest of the council people to find a solution to fix the problem by law, and what steps we can take to improve our area.
Debbie Blevins.
The job of a councilman can be varied. I think we need to do the legislation by, I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
Jason Schauber.
I think we've established what the role of a council person is. Everyone has their own take on it, but we are the legislative body, and we do govern we're responsible for the budget, and we have to be fiscally responsible individuals. How we engage our community, I think, is very important. We have to make ourselves available. My phone number's out there. A lot of people call, text, email. I do not respond to Facebook messages because I really don't know how to do the Facebook part that well. But the most important thing is constituent service, and as a third ward councilman, my main priority is what the third ward needs. And when they reach out to me, that's my number one job, is to get that question answered for them.
Kevin Little.
As everybody else said, we're responsible for the people in our ward. I think that I'm the voice, I'm the advocate for the people that live there. If they need something, they can call me, or they can text me, or social media, and I'll get back with them. It's also to spend their money wisely. You can't spend it if it ain't there, and if it's there, you can't waste it. So I'm just looking forward to serving you, and thank you very much.
Kai Mead. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
You are.
Thank you.
Everyone said a lot of good things. It is about the fiscal responsibility. It is about listening to your constituents and working with the fire department and the other emergency services, but it's also about showing up. It's also about being present enough to listen to your constituents and everyone else's issues that they may bring, and that comes from caring about your ward and caring about the citizens that live there.
All right. Our next question is for the mayor candidates, and we're going to start with Sue McGowan. What will you do to bring new business opportunities to Marion?
Hi, I'm Sue McGowan. To bring new business opportunities to Marion, I think a lot of it reverts back to our opioid addiction and our mental health issues that we have in Marion. Right now, currently, 50% of Marion cannot pass a drug test or has a felony. So when we have to increase our workforce and heal our workforce so we can attract businesses to our area. They go around to other areas and to other businesses and say, well, what's your turnaround on your manpower? And they say, we can't get anybody to work more than 3 days. That's a problem. And I think that hinders our business and from companies coming in and wanting to build here.
Okay, time's up. Scott Schertzer.
Thank you. As a member of the Can-Do Board, I actually have a seat at the table every time a new business comes to our community, every time that a business wants to do a retention or an expansion. I can tell you last year alone, over $100 million were invested in this community by our local businesses that already exist here. Each one of those businesses that made that investment also had to hire additional workforce. So we're seeing job growth taking place right now before your very eyes. With an unemployment rate at a 50-year low, we do have plenty of jobs. You just look around this community and you can see help wanted signs everywhere for all kinds of positions, part-time, full-time, first, second, or third shift. There are all sorts of jobs out there. Also, what we see now is the fact that these companies are actually looking at us, and we have an opportunity to bring them into our community. And I have a monthly lunch with many of these business leaders that tell me that they are getting good employees.
All right. A reminder that we are taking phone calls tonight. If you have a question for any of the candidates here, number is 740-244-9880. Again, 740-244-9880. All right, the next one's for the fiscal officers. How many meetings have you attended since you decided to run for office? Will you commit to attending all future meetings? And we will start with Sheila Perrin on that one.
I have attended all meetings. It's a requirement. I believe in my 16 years as fiscal officer, I have missed at the most 3 meetings due to sickness or I was away. But I'm committed to attending my meetings. I take the minutes. So that's my answer.
Okay. Eric Klinsman.
Yes, since I've started my run for the fiscal officer, I've been to one meeting in the last month, and I do plan on going to every meeting.
Okay. Our next one is for all city council. What is your opinion on a building code, on having a building code? And we will start with Kai Mead.
You know, as far as building codes go, I think that the root of the issue is that everyone wants to have safe housing. Really what it comes down to when you're instituting a building code is you're creating another department, and so you're adding in. So I think that I'd say I support anything that leads to our residents being safer and leads us to having to worry less. But I want to make sure that we've got the money in place, because if I'm going to run as a fiscally responsible candidate, I need to be able to back it up when it comes to the policy.
All right, Kevin Little.
It's Kevin Lytle, but
Lytle,
we'll answer.
Kevin Lytle. Kevin Lytle.
As a retired fireman, I kind of look at the building code in a different way. I look at it as the safety of these firemen going on these buildings when they're on fire. There's enough things to worry about without having to worry about how this thing was put together. So yes, I do support a building code. As far as paying for it, I guess that would come, if we decided to do it, then we'd have to find the money. If we couldn't find it, we couldn't do it. But I want to do it for the safety forces.
All right, Jason Schauber.
Was the question, do I support a building code? Was that the question?
The question again is, what is your opinion on having a building code?
Currently, the state of Ohio has a minimum building code that everyone's supposed to follow. So we have one, so I guess that's my opinion. Or if the question's digging deeper, should we have a building code department? That's totally, my decision would be based on how that department would be set up.
Okay. Debbie Blevins.
And I think it was 1999, the city passed a building code, and then a year later voted against it, and it was removed from the city.
Joshua Feliciano.
I believe in the building code. Being an architectural designer for residential and light commercial, I have to follow the building code, if it's the state of Ohio or if it's the city. I've worked with the city of Delaware in residential, and they're very strict. It also protects the homeowner as well as the contractor, because they have to follow what either the designer or the architect puts on a piece of paper. And right there is proof the owner and whatever city, even if it's Marion, that this job has to be followed by the rules.
Leslie Cunningham.
Yes, so this has been a discussion in the last year, and I know that there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. I do also think that it's very important that building codes are established. If we can follow the state guidelines, which is what we've been doing, and that's working for us, that's one thing. However, it would be as something that I would want to talk to the fire department about to get their opinion. They are the ones that have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. So there may be a need for building codes, and if that is the case, yes, I would support that.
Tara Dyer.
Yes, I would support building codes. I think any code establishes a consistent way in which we are to conduct ourselves. The regulation is important, but I think it also implies that safety is considered there. So if it's consistent, if it adheres to safety rules, and if it is according to the state and city guidelines, I think they're very important, and I think Marion should enforce those.
Well, thank you. And Kathy Swanger.
The first thing I would say is, as a new person seeking a political office, I have a lot to learn, and building codes is one of those things that I need to learn a little bit more about. I can see the benefit for that, for the safety of our citizens and for the safety of our first responders as they go out. I also understand that if we institute this, then we also have administrative costs and fees that come with that. So I would like to talk to my constituents. I would like to see what the people in the 6th Ward in the city of Marion believe about that, and then use that information and learn from that, and then go and make a decision. If the people of Marion are willing to pay for this and pay for the administrative costs that come with it, then I would be in favor of it. But I need to learn, and I need to talk to my constituents.
Thank you so much. This next question is for Kai Mead. Kai, do you have any business or management experience? And being a new resident to the 1st Ward, how committed are you to making this your long-term home? Those before you have lived there many years, including Mr. Sott.
Yeah. So what it comes down to, again, like I said, it's about being able to pay attention to your constituents' problems that they come up with the community, and being able to work with them. You want a candidate that's going to put their roots down, and like I said before, me and my fiance plan to be here for as long as you guys will have me. And again, I think that when a candidate, whether or not a candidate shows up, speaks to a lot. It speaks to how they handle their time, their decision-making ability, and everything like that. And in terms of management, I mean, not really, no, to be honest with you. But I really think that this comes down to the general effort that you see put in by your candidates tonight. And I think that without pointing out the obvious, it is pretty obvious.
Since he's not opposed, do any other council people want to make a comment? Okay. We'll move on. This one is for Sue McGowan. This says, you have relatively little experience and that you have not been employed in the recent past. What experience do you have that would make you qualified to be mayor?
Sue McGowan. Our current mayor wasn't a mayor before he became a mayor. I believe it's all a learning process. I have been employed since the age of 16. My first job was at the Parks and Recreation Department. I've worked many different occupations of being a contract remodeler to working in a sheet metal shop, Department of Transportation, plastic plants. I've done everything between clean toilets and run safety scenes on interstate freeways. I've been to school, 32 classes, have everything to do with road repair, traffic control, drainage, and I believe that I care about our community and we need to change for the better of our community.
Okay, time's up. Scott Schertzer, your rebuttal.
Well, I don't know anything about her work experience, to be honest with you. I only know about my work experience as the mayor of the city of Marion. And I know it's not just a job, it is a lifestyle. It's 24/7, 365. You have to be ready to go at any time as the mayor of the city of Marion. You have to be ready to speak before business leaders and community leaders that come before you, and you have to have that knowledge of how the city government works as you walk into this job or it is going to be a deficiency for this city moving forward. And I have that experience, and I can bring that experience and continue it as the mayor of the city of Marion.
Sue, you have 30 seconds.
Like I said before, he wasn't a mayor before he became the mayor. I think we need some fresh new eyes in here to deal with situations that are being ignored for way too long. It's costing people's lives. It's costing business. It's costing auto repairs. There's a multitude of things that need to be addressed that have been overlooked for 12 years.
Okay. Another mayor question. Scott Schertzer, this is for you. It says, I would like to know why you have pursued running for a higher office and yet still want to run as mayor if you really want to stay in Marion.
So that's a great question. You know, in our positions as elected officials, I wasn't looking to run for another office. I was actually quite honored to be asked to run for lieutenant governor just last year. So that didn't work out, as many of you might know, but it was an incredible experience to be asked to do something like that. To serve your state in that capacity is a wonderful thing. Just as it has been an incredible opportunity for me to serve as your mayor, I've always wanted to be in this position. And as I said in my opening remarks, I have the energy to do the job, the enthusiasm to want the job, and the experience to do a good job for you, the citizens of Marion. And that's why I'm asking for your support, and that's why I'm running for re-election for mayor of the city of Marion, Ohio.
Sue McGowan, 1 minute.
I just see it. I just call it as I see it. I'm very informal, so I'm going to get a little comfortable with you. If somebody wants to be our mayor and stick by us, they'll do what it takes. They're not going to leave us for a governor's job for a little bit more money. They're going to care about our community, and they're going to care about the lives that they affect every day. They're not just going to run off and leave us like a babysitter would leave an unwanted child. You know, we have to depend on our mayor, and if he would have left and went to a governor's position, would we have not had a mayor? That's the things that we need to think about. My only job is to become mayor, and that's as high as I want to go. I don't want to pursue a political career. I don't live to be mayor. I live to be a citizen of this community.
Scott Schertzer for 30 seconds.
Thank you. First of all, you know, running for any higher office, that's a question that I get every time I run for re-election in this position. It comes up every year. It's not something that you look for. It's not something that you seek out. It sought me out. Serving this state would have been a great honor for anybody to be able to do something like that. And that's serving people, and I am serving the citizens of Marion.
Okay. The next question is for Tara Dyer. Tara, what can you do to address the jail overcrowding?
In order to address the overcrowding, I don't think that's a city council decision. I think I'd have to throw that in the county commissioner's court, because I don't think the city council has anything to do with that. But I think we do, but what we can do is support our probation, our drug courts, and those types to try to curtail the amount of people that are actually in that overcrowding. So I don't think that that's a city council job. I think we need to, any county commissioners out there, maybe we need to throw that in their court and see what their answer to that is. Thank you.
Leslie Cunningham, you have a minute.
So we do have Judge Ballinger, who does hold court. I know that she sometimes has to do sentencing. That is her job. So I know that they have been working on some programs, drug programs, different things to help people outside of jail, which I think has been proven to be working. I think that we should continue to encourage that. If we have the resources and the finances and we have the means, then by all means, we should definitely try to use that. Unfortunately, sometimes jail is a necessity. If it comes down to that, we understand that, but it would be great to have different programs that we could utilize also.
Chair, 30 seconds.
we're always, I think, looking for alternatives to incarceration, and I think the city has a great department. I've sat in on, one occasion. I looked at the courts and what they're doing, and I don't think we can incarcerate ourselves out of this situation. We're going to have to find alternatives.
Okay. This is for all Fifth Ward. So we will start with Leslie Cunningham on this one. How are you personally involved in your ward?
Personally involved. So I try to reach out. I know I've been walking ward to ward or door to door, and I do walk door to door and talk to people outside of the election. I typically reach out to them through phone calls, emails, Facebook, and try to engage them, listen to them. Like I said, a lot of them are great about coming to me also. They are awesome. I have an awesome ward. People are very proactive. They call, they talk, they tell their needs, they tell their desires, they tell their frustrations. So I try to just continually stay engaged through whatever comes up at the moment, whatever I have to deal with, whatever someone's concern, need, I listen to them. So other than that, it's just being on council and also just the different programs throughout the city that I'm on.
Tara Dyer, same question.
My involvement in the ward, in the Fifth Ward, is, I mentioned in my opening statement, the last 5 years of my career, my 35-year career with Marion City Schools, was spent at Benjamin Harrison Elementary School, so I expanded my knowledge there. I support the businesses in the Fifth Ward, gas station, stores, or whatever. I walk. A lot of my family lives in the Fifth Ward, so I am engaging them in conversation and listening to what their particular needs are. The involvement, to me, takes a different look because I'm not on city council. I am a person that's getting out there and talking with people and being active and involved. So that's what I do in the Fifth Ward.
Leslie Cunningham, 30 seconds.
In my first term, I was able to be on Marion Mentors, and then my job position changed, and I was no longer to be on it. That is a phenomenal program. I was at Grant Middle School doing that. That's in my ward. I give so much praise to that program. It is an excellent program. That is one thing that I was able to engage in and be around the students, which was really neat, because that is our future generation.
This one's for the mayor candidates. What are your plans, if any, to bring multiple sectors together to address transportation issues that face our community? We'll start with Scott Schertzer on that one.
So the Marion Area Transit Program is about 75% funded through the Ohio Department of Transportation. And so that means about 25% match comes from our general fund. We have long been looking at the possibilities of expanding that, but because it is a grant program through ODOT, we are kind of at their mercies on whether we can expand that. So we have a committee together of citizens that use our transit department, and Jeff Marsh, our transit director, meets with them on a regular basis. So we talk about the issues that are concerning to our Marion Area Transit. If we have an opportunity to get additional grant dollars because of the new gasoline tax, which I do know that there is more grant money coming for public transportation, we have talked about the possibilities of expanding that program if it becomes available to us through this new money through the Ohio Department of Transportation.
Time's up. Sue McGowan?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I can, exactly. What are your plans, if any, to bring multiple sectors together to address transportation issues that face our community?
Well, we have a big problem. Our buses don't run after 4 o'clock every day, and they don't run the weekends. The majority of the people that are trying to get to work can't get to work. If we would expand our transportation through grants, through funding, we could open up the doors to make our city more accessible.
Reminder that you can submit a question by calling 740-244-9880. Again, 740-244-9880 if you have a question for any of the candidates up here. Again, another one for the mayors. For the mayors, the mayor candidates. What do you think about consolidation of the city and county firefighters? And we'll start with Sue.
I think that it's always good to consolidate, but maybe not consolidate, but work together as a team. Not so much consolidate, because I think that the city fire department needs to expand. We have 37,000 people and we work 11 people per shift. We have got grants, and that's an amazing thing, but this issue has not been addressed till now. Why in the election year that there's something to start to be done about it? We've overlooked, there's areas of our city that don't even receive medical treatment. A school where a secretary says every time she calls a squad that she hopes there's not a train blocking the tracks. There's major issues we have with our transportation and getting around.
Scott Schertzer, same question.
Thank you. I've always been a proponent of mergers and consolidations of like services. Ever since I've been in office, we managed to merge park and recreation, two like services within city government. We also merged Marion Public Health, or created Marion Public Health through the ballot box when we had a city health department and a county health department. And most recently, working with the county sheriff and the Marion County commissioners, we were able to reduce the PSAP, which is the 911 system that we have here, into one centralized dispatch. So I have a track record of mergers and consolidations. I've always been in favor of conversations with those other political subdivisions about merging fire departments. In fact, there's a township trustee sitting in this room right now where we have had multiple conversations and actually looked at the funding for a merged fire department in the future.
Okay. This question is for Kathy Swanger. What work experiences would make you a good council person?
I believe my work experience of having over 3 decades in education, I know lots and lots of people in the city of Marion. Like I said, I've lived here since I was 3 years old, the exception of about 10 years. I've made lots and lots of relationships with people, and so I think that will benefit me. I think being in education and having lots of different aspects within education. I've always been a teacher, but I don't believe leadership is always a title. I believe leadership is in action. And so I have been on several different committees throughout the school to do leadership, and I think that will help me as I lead the city.
Would any other council member like to make a 1-minute comment? Okay. This is for the fiscal officer candidate. We understand that this is a part-time position. How many hours per week do you plan on devoting to the job? And we will start with Eric Klensman on that.
I would devote as many hours as needed. Again, this would be something new for me as far as the time requirements, but I also do taxes on the side and have my own small accounting firm. So I know that, you know, working more hours and getting in as many clients, as many, you know, whatever I needed to get done, get it done on time.
Sheila Perrin.
I'm asked that question a lot. How many hours a week do I spend working as a fiscal officer? It's hard to put an hour on that because certain times of the year you're busier than other months of the year. In January, because I work full-time, I neglected to tell you that in my introduction. I've worked for Delaware County Emergency Services for over 20 years. I don't consider Township Fiscal Officer a part-time job. I tell people I have 2 full-time jobs. In January, I spend every weekend working on opening purchase orders, setting up payroll files, getting my budget entered, and in July, you have to get your budget figures together for the county auditor, so that it's hard to put a price or an hour on how many hours I spend.
Okay. We have a question for Sue McGowan. It says, daily you state that you are fighting for Marion. In the past year, please give 3 examples of how you fought and won for Marion.
Well, I'm on the ballot, aren't I? In the last year, I took care of my mom. I fought every battle that she had. I made sure that she was cared for. That was my responsibility, and I took it to the end. I'm doing things out into the community. I'm working on rebuilding our house. I'm walking and talking to people, trying to seek answers from within the community of what the community needs. So I've been working really hard to be your next mayor, staying out with the community, going to local events. My 10 seconds.
Scott Scherzer.
Thank you. Fighting, that's an interesting way of putting it. I think in some cases every day. I meet with the police chief often. We fight hard to handle all the issues involved in the city as far as the police department, the fire department. I meet with my senior staff, the safety director, the service director, the public works every day. We fight hard for grants. We have been very fortunate to receive a number of grants. One has been alluded to numerous times tonight, which is the SAFER grant. We're going to be able to hire 6 new firefighters at the beginning of 2020 through this SAFER grant. This is the 3rd time that we have gotten this grant. So we fight hard for grants all the time. We also fought for a grant to rebuild the infrastructure within the firehouse. So fighting is a daily issue with all the department heads, with all my senior staff.
Okay. Again, if you'd like to submit a question, if you're listening on the radio, you can do that easily by calling 740-244-9880. Again, that's 740-244-9880. This is for all city council. What are your plans to regulate rentals? And let's start with Joshua Feliciano.
To me, that's a hard question to answer because there's a lot of rentals that are abandoned and not upkeep. And I feel that is the responsibility of the homeowner or the rental person that needs to keep that upkeep. There are programs out there. There's one that is with the government who brings renters inside. I don't know how they deal with the finances, but that is a serious problem here in Marion, especially on the 4th Ward, because there's, especially on my block on Olney, there's a lot of houses that are apartment-wise, they're just abandoned.
Debbie Blevins.
Would you repeat the question, please?
I sure can. What are your plans to regulate rentals?
I'm not sure what regulate rentals means. I'll take a guess that the upkeep and the working with the landlords. I know we've had several landlords come and discuss things with us on city council, and I think we should work as a community to bring attention to those rentals that need help. I'm done.
Kevin Lytle.
I kind of go with what Debbie was saying. I'm not sure what they mean by regulate. Can't regulate everything, but I would like to see some of these rentals that's not very visually appeasing to be cleaned up. People need a good place to live, and that good, safe place to live, and that's something that maybe if it wasn't safe, we could help with. And I guess being new at this, that's all I have right now.
Jason Schauber, same question.
Again, no one wants to answer a question that they have to read into the question to understand what it is. So I have no plans to regulate any rentals, because just the question, I would have to assume that all landlords are bad landlords, and that's just not the truth. So my simple answer is I have zero plans on regulating landlords.
Kai-Mi?
Yeah, it's a very broad question. I think what you can really pull away from it, though, is if I have your vote and I'm elected to council, I'll work with landlords and renters to identify what we can do in properties that need work, and just be present in the lives of landlords and renters to try to build our community up.
Chair Dyer.
Regulate is that operative term that I think all of us are wrestling with, because there are good landlords and there are not so good landlords, and public safety is an important thing. We just met recently with a group of concerned landlords who didn't want what the not so good landlords do to rub off on what they're trying to do. So I think dialogue is very, very important, not to regulate, but to continuously talk to those landlords to generate ideas. And we do that in housing with Marion Public Health. Maybe there can even be a database established of some of the good landlords, so the good can overwhelm those that are not so good. So I would think we would need to establish a database, not to regulate, but to formulate something that people can look at, even if you're interested in becoming a landlord. So we can't, that regulate term.
Time's up. Leslie Cunningham.
So recently I attended it was called MARPA Candidates Night, and that was eye-opening. And it's like you said, regulate is a very strong word. That evening I was able to listen to the landlords in Marion, and it was very eye-opening. We do have a lot of good landlords, and I like the fact that their homes, they're renting out to people, they're filled. Those people are hopefully contributing to the city of Marion, but they're also spending money in the city of Marion. So as opposed to having them sit empty, absolutely we would rent it out. Like I said, it was a really eye-opening evening. They were able to discuss their frustrations about how they feel they get blamed, and they're right. There's a lot of good landlords here, so I just think we have to work together.
Okay. And Kathy Swanger.
Regulation is a really strong word. And I also attended the Landlords Association meeting and learned a little bit more about the Landlord Association. And I believe we have many, many very good landlords. And in the city of Marion, we need good, affordable housing. I believe in due process. So anytime that we need to do work, I think we need to work with people, but we also need to give everybody their due process. And in that due process, by working with people, we can help to take care of some of the issues that some of the landlords are having.
This one's for the mayor candidates. Quality of life and environment go hand in hand. What do you hope to do with your office to improve green space, environmental programs, and the overall quality of life as it relates to our relationships with our little section of this planet? And we'll start with Scott Schertzer on that.
So we recently created a position through the Marion City Police Department with Officer Casey Thomas. We call it the Code Compliance Officer. And this is the individual that goes out and works with our citizens to maybe deal with some of the things that the previous question was trying to get at the heart of. And we call him Code Compliance because that's the first thing that we really want Officer Thomas to do, is we want him to work with the residents, give them enough time to correct any problems that may exist in cleaning up what we call the environment in the community. And so when he doesn't, or when they don't, I should say, then he becomes the code enforcement officer. And this goes to the heart of due process of the law. We need to make sure that we give them the opportunity to clean that up. Green space is also very important. We've applied for some grants for Founders Park in downtown Marion, but we got some great plans for Main Street and that park.
Okay, Sue McGowan, same question.
Can you read the question for me
sure
again?
will. I will do that. Will do. Quality of life and the environment go hand in hand. What do you hope to do with your office to improve green space, environmental programs, and the overall quality of life as it relates to our relationships with our little section of this planet?
I would like to see us really wholeheartedly go hard at the recycling program. There's a reason why I live on a street of 30 people, 5 people recycle. They charge to recycle and then they get money out of it, but we have to have more of an incentive to people to pick up garbage. I have plans that I would like to see a trash burning power plant come to Marion. It would clean up everything. But a lot of that needs to be looked into for the green factor. Is it going to be environmentally safe? We have a whole huge trash dump out there that is just sitting there.
Okay, Sue, 30 seconds.
So we actually have more green space today than we did before I became mayor, and that's always nice to have that green space available throughout the community. We work with our Park and Recreation Department. Mike Cheney does a great job of getting grants. Actually, the Rotary Club is going to redo some of the playground equipment at McKinley Park later on this year, and we hope to get it done this year. So we are investing in green space, and we are also looking for partners to invest in our green space, like the Marion Rotary Club.
Okay. Reminder that you can submit a question by calling 740-244-9880. Again, that's 740-244-9880 if you have a question for any of the candidates tonight. This is for the mayor candidates again. It says, is this job a full-time position? How many hours currently are being spent? And we'll start with Sue on that one.
I'm just a running candidate, so
Yeah.
for me, it's 24/7. I'm trying to get the word out there. I'm walking the streets, knocking on doors, putting signs in yards. I'm definitely doing more than a 40-hour week right now. That's all I have to say.
Scott.
Yeah, the position of mayor has been full-time for a number of years, and actually it's been decades. I don't even know when Marion created a full-time mayor. It may go back to the 40s, 50s, or even the 60s, somewhere in that area. It is a full-time job. You put in the time that it takes to do whatever you need to do. I spend a lot of time attending numerous community functions. That's all part of the job, representing the city in Columbus when necessary. So how many hours a week? Whatever it takes to get the job done. Mostly it's 40, but sometimes it's often more than that. There are numerous meetings that the mayor serves on, boards and commissions. That's all part of the job as well. The CVB, Can Do, Downtown Marion Inc. are just a few of the boards that I serve on, and that's why it's a full-time job.
Okay, thank you. This question is for Kevin Lytle and Tara Dyer. It says, if you are concerned in the opioid epidemic, what are you taking to address this problem? We'll start with Tara on that one.
Read it for me again.
I sure will.
I got thrown off when you went to different wards there.
Yeah. If you are concerned in the opioid epidemic, what are you taking to address this problem?
What am I taking to
Yes.
address this problem? The opioid? I mean, I'm sorry. Wait, what? That's a loaded question. Okay. I'm not taking anything to address the problem, okay? Like, what? I think if I can interpret that question, though, what I'm doing to address the problem is I sit on committees. The Drug-Free Marion, by the way, is having a drug take-back this Saturday. So if you have any medicines in your cupboard that you want to get rid of safely, there's information on my Facebook page of how you can dispose of that. I'm always cautious, too, of looking at solutions. There was just a symposium at Ohio State about a month ago where my fellow classmate came in to talk about addiction and what we could do as far as that's concerned. So the opioid problem is universal.
And Leslie Cunningham?
So, I would agree.
You're not taking anything?
No.
Okay, I'm going to make sure you're not taking anything.
I'm not taking anything either.
Okay.
It has obviously become at the forefront of some issues here, or not lately, but in the last 4 years that I've been on council. what I've been trying to do is truly support the programs, Adam H., the different programs that are there. Dayspring, I was able to attend before my job changed. I was able to attend their alcohol and drug rehab, that they had there. The other thing is absolutely supporting our police and fire. They are the ones out there on the front lines. They're the ones that have to deal with it. I try to listen to what they have to say, what our needs are. So just being there, listening, understanding the needs, and being able to do something about it is very powerful.
Kevin Lytle, same question.
As I said in my opening remarks, that I'm for putting an interagency task force together to look at starting a program modeled after the one that Columbus Fire is doing. This is called the REACT, R-R-A-C-T program. I'd love to tell you what it means, but my nerves got my mind all messed up. But anyway, so I'm talking with guys down there about how they set it up, how they fund it. They're more than willing to come up here and talk to the fire department, to the city council, to let them know how to set it up and what can be done funding-wise. The majority of theirs is funded through grants from employers or other private sector businesses, and they do pretty good at it. And they've cut down their runs for this type of problem and overdoses.
Jason Schauber, same question.
Like Mrs. Cunningham said, just support the services that are there. Our police and fire departments have the necessary tools to combat this because they are on the front lines.
All right, Kevin, you got a 30-second. Tara, I did not forget about your 30 seconds. We'll come back to you on that. Go ahead.
You want Kevin?
Kevin, go ahead.
A rebuttal? Like he said, the police fire need the tools in their box to work with this. 30 seconds is not enough time to go totally into the program. You get the gist. I'll talk with you after. But something is done.
Okay, Chair, go ahead and do your 30 seconds.
Yeah, I carry Narcan in my glove compartment right now. Marion Public Health offers a training at the beginning of the month. I try to stay, with the trend. I just have a friend who had a daughter overdose and die. We're experiencing, one death a week, with overdose. So we have to combat it by doing what we can as citizens, but also as a community to embrace this problem.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you. This question is for all council candidates. It says, if you are in office now, of what committees are you a member? If you are not in office, do you attend council and committee meetings regularly? And let's start with Kathy Swanger on that one.
I am currently not on the city council. However, I would like your support on November 5th or before that. However, for the last 3 or 4 months, I have been attending regularly to the meetings and also to committee meetings because I would like to be able, when I become your sixth ward city council person, I would like to have knowledge and be able to take off running and know what's going on with the council.
Okay. Kai Mead, same question.
I've been going to council meetings for years. I don't make every single one, but like I said before, I've tried to be as present as possible, and I will attend council meetings when I am your councilman. I think that what this comes down to is how prepared can you be on day one. And I've made that conscious effort to try to learn about the city and the different things that we can do to really improve it.
Kevin Lytle.
I've been recently attending council meetings again. When I was working with the fire department, I went regularly. I kind of fell out of it after I retired, but I've been going this summer when I could. And when you let me, I will be going to all of them.
Jason Schauber.
My attendance is public record. This term, year and a half or so that we're in this term, I've not missed any meetings. I am the chair of Streets and Sewers, I am the Chair of Jobs and Economic Development and also the Chair of Municipal Services.
Okay. Debbie Blevins.
Well, I've served on several committees throughout my service to you. I think it's important for everybody in Marion, Ohio, to attend at least one committee meeting. That's where most of the discussion and most of the decisions are made at the committee meeting. So please attend as soon as possible. Thank you.
Joshua Feliciano.
Well, I'm not a city councilman. I attended several city council meetings due to my job schedule. Since I work for Ohio Heartland Community Action Commission, my hours are crazy there. There's some days that I can work 8 hours, some days longer. Depends on what's important to these schools that I have to maintain, which I cover 7 counties all the way up to Mansfield. So I'm never know what time I get back into Marion. But as if I become city councilman, I'll attend every one of them because it will be on my calendar and my cell phone, which goes off with an alarm, that I will attend the meetings.
Leslie Cunningham, same question.
I sit on 3 committees. Zoning and annexation, I'm the chair of that. Public utilities and regional planning. Again, like Mr. Schauber said, public record, our attendance record is. I believe in the 2-year term, my last 2-year term, I have missed 1 committee meeting.
Tara Dyer.
Okay, what does my shirt say? Present, all right? So that question must be for me, and I'll draw you back to my opening statement where I say, most importantly, I will be present at council meetings and committee meetings, gathering knowledge that ultimately will help me to decide what's best for not only the residents of the 5th Ward, but Marion as a whole. And although I'm not on council now, I have been in attendance to several of the city council meetings.
Thank you. This is for Mayor Schertzer. The City of Lima has consistently received over $1.5 million annually in community development block grants. Marion has consistently received less than $200,000 annually. Is there an explanation for this?
Well, the Community Development Block Grant Program comes in a variety of different forms. A lot of those grants are competitive. We have recently applied for some more competitive grants in the block grant program. I mentioned the critical infrastructure grant, which is $500,000 for our fire station to make improvements there. We're in the process on City Council right now of applying for 2 $250,000 grants for downtown Marion specifically. Again, they're all competitive. The formula grants that we get on a regular basis have been declining for cities all across the United States. So if you're talking formula, that is set by somebody down in Columbus and in Washington, D.C. If you're talking about the competitive ones, we have been applying for more, and we have been getting more, and we will continue to do so.
Sue McGowan.
Can you read the question?
I sure will do that for you. The City of Lima has consistently received over $1.5 million annually in community development block grants. Marion has consistently received less than $200,000 annually. Is there an explanation for this?
Like Mr. Schertzer said, we need to be applying for these grants. That's our job, to look out for the city and make our developments. If the funding is available, we should not ignore the problems of the city, and we should seek money to take care of these issues. And instead of ignoring them and letting them build up, that then they're completely so far out of hand, that it's a nuisance. Like the blighted houses, and we've had that law since 1965 of the nuisance law. I think that it needs to be revised, but it is an issue that needs to be addressed. But by letting it go and go and go, then we have a really huge problem. So addressing it and applying for the grants, seeking the funding.
Okay, Sue. Scott, your rebuttal?
So the first time that we got a housing grant, it was for $1.1 million to tear down blighted and abandoned homes, and we did that. The second time, we got $750,000 to tear down blighted and abandoned homes. And most recently, with the creation of the county land bank, because the state legislature changed the law, basically rendering the city's land bank useless, the county land bank has $850,000. So in total, we have torn down over 300 abandoned homes in the Marion community.
Time's up. All right, this is for all fiscal officer candidates. What is the most significant challenges facing the township? We'll start with Sheila Perrin on that one.
Well, the biggest challenge I find is our revenues are decreasing every year, but our expenditures are increasing. I work very well with the trustees. We work as a team. We watch how we spend our money, and we use it in a very fiscal mannered way. So that is our biggest, rising health costs. During the months of April to October, we have regular members at our meeting complaining about nuisance properties, and we have to expend money to mow those and keep those so that they're presentable and we don't have any more complaints from the residents. So I would say that's the biggest challenges I face, is spending our money in a wise way.
Harry Klinsman, same question.
I agree with Sheila. I think that being fiscally responsible with what we've been given for the township needs to be taken care of first and foremost. And I know that the expanding the fire, if we wanted to expand any of the fire department services, that we're going to need to go after grants and stuff like that in the future to either get more revenue or try to cut costs. But like Sheila said, I mean, it seems like everything is costing more across the board.
All right. Let's go to all the councilmen. What is the first thing you would do to combat the drug abuse epidemic in our community? And we will start with Leslie Cunningham on that one.
Support of the programs that are already out there, for one. We absolutely have to be in support of those. We have a lot of people that are trying to pull together. Like I said, we have Adam H. We have the drug courts that are trying to get these graduate programs. They need our support, and my job is to listen and support the programs that are going to help combat this issue. I also enjoy attending, even though, like I said, enjoy is kind of an odd term, but I do attend and enjoy listening to the progress of it. And I also do attend the programs, like I was talking about at Day Spring Wesleyan Church, where I attend. We have a drug and alcohol program for those, Al-Anon, and also the Adam H, attending those. It's very eye-opening to listen to what they have to say and to listen to the statistics.
Tara Dyer.
What was the question?
What is the first thing you would do to combat the drug abuse epidemic in our community?
I think if we look at more a useful way to the blighted houses, maybe we can turn those into more sober living kind of facilities. We can identify people to run those that will also give them more education. I think we need to educate the family and the community. That's why for me, the importance of the Adam H board and being on drug-free that offers alternatives and the literature. Just recently, I attended Hidden in Plain Sight, where we can identify areas where people hide drugs, our youth, and I think our youth is very important.
Okay, Tara. Kathy Swanger.
First, I think we need to support what we do have with the Adam H, with the drug courts, support the programs that we have. But we also have to understand this is not just a problem in Marion, this is a problem nationwide. I also believe we can do research, find out what programs are working best in what cities, and actually try to emulate some of those. We need to educate. As a matter of fact, coming up on Thursday, there's going to be a rally in Founders Park with a bunch of students, youth. which is a drug-free Hire Me rally. And I think we need to start with some of our younger people, give them some other options, alternatives, and then from there, just support what we have and support our first responders who have to deal with this issue on a daily basis.
Joshua Feliciano.
First of all, we do need to support what programs are out there. My personal opinion, there's a lot of repeat offenders. And some of them do go through the program, but they also go back on what they started before. Any repeated person, 3 strikes you're out. It's in the hands of the courts and the judge. And if you don't want to change, it's a personal thing. And if you really want to change, then you really stick to the program and keep on going. There needs to be an accountability of the person who is helping the person overcome the drug addiction.
Debbie Blevins, in question.
I'm a firm believer in supporting the fire department and especially our police department. When they come to us and ask for more funds or equipment, I think we should try and think about what they go through every day. I've never had the privilege of riding along, but I hear it's an exciting experience. And I think we need to work very closely with our police and fire department and the different organizations that are available.
Okay. Jason Schauber, same question.
I think the first thing we could do is break it down to a personal level. So many times we find ourselves with our face planted in our devices. We ignore the outside world. We start being more aware of the warning signs that are going on and reaching out to those people that are showing those warning signs. We get ahead of this before it snowballs into something that they can't return from.
Kevin Lytle.
I believe everybody on this stage tonight that's one of their major concerns. The ones that couldn't make it, I can't tell you, but it's going back to that program that I want to start, supporting the fire and police. It's cheaper to get treatment than to lock these people up if they're nonviolent. And I would really like to see that program started here in town. I'm going to do everything I can to get it going at a minimal cost to the city with the help of my brothers down in Columbus. Thank you.
Kai Mead, your last one there.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things is just giving our first responders the resources they need. As Kathy said, this is a national issue. So if we're going to respond to this, we have to respond creatively. Kevin Lytle actually has a very good idea about bringing some of the things they're doing down from Franklin County. And I think that those are some things that we really need to give a lot of attention. I've been endorsed by our firefighters, and I think that they've put the faith in our firefighters union, and I think that they put the faith in me to help address this issue.
All right. Thank you so much. We're running out of time. We got about a minute left, so I'd like to thank everybody that came out tonight, everybody that listened on the radio. Remember to get out and vote, and the candidates, I believe, will be here for questions afterwards if you have any questions for them. Again, thank you so much for coming out tonight.